Welcome and thank you for tuning in to the Sean Inspires podcast. I have one of the most amazing accountants who's been in the industry for over 25 years. I have sitting in with us today as we discuss wealth and wisdom, how to manage and balance it all. So I'm just going to start and give you guys a little bit of background information about Jini D. Thornton. Jini D. Thornton has more than 25 years of experience in the accounting profession and entertainment industry. She is the founder and CEO of Envision Business Management Group. EBMG, as it says, provides accounting, tax, tour accounting, and logistics and other financial related services for artists, producers, songwriters, actors, record labels, and management companies. She is currently the financial expert for the nationally syndicated Ricky Smiley Morning Show, Willie Moore Jr. Show, and Morning Hustle. She is also featured regularly on WXIA 11 Alive in Atlanta and the BNC Black News Channel. Jini is also the founder of Thank Me Later, an online financial education platform specifically focused on teaching Black women about money. Within the Thank Me Later community, Black women learn exactly what financial topics they need to focus on each month, what they need to do, and how to do it. Thank Me Later includes a mix of inspiring content, interviews, courses, and tools to navigate through every phase of life that has a financial impact. Jini received a Master's of Science in Taxation from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and a Bachelor's of Science in Accounting from North Carolina A&T State University. She began her professional career as a tax accountant with the internationally accounting firm KPMG in Atlanta, Georgia. Jini realized she had a passion for teaching while teaching accounting as a professor at Spelman College. In addition to building her practice and the Thank Me Later community, she is very active in her community. She holds board positions at the Willie A. Deese Business School at North Carolina A&T, Zoe Empowers, and Wilfo Foundation, and is also active on the community outreach team for Impact Church. Having been adopted, Jini is a big advocate for adoption. Jini is also an active member of AKA Sorority, Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyers Association, and the Georgia Society of CPAs. In her spare time, she enjoys swimming, training for triathlons, and gardening. Jini has been married for 26 years and has 2 adult sons. Jini, this is an impressive resume, but I would like for you to just give us a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience a little bit about you.
Hey, Sean, thank you for having me. Listen, I don't know if there's anything else for me to say. You have covered it all. It's interesting as I sat here and listened to you read my bio, I just kept thinking about what it didn't say. It didn't talk about me being, having my first child, getting pregnant at 20, my junior year of college, and having my first child at 21. And my resume didn't talk about how long my husband and I financially struggled. And it didn't talk about how hard it was financially when I first started my business. So, I appreciate the accolades and it all sounds good, but I'm thinking about everything else, that wasn't included that I think absolutely provides some color and some insight as to who I am for real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love the transparency. And I believe the listening audience, because Sean Inspires is a diverse audience, and we love to have guests on that are open and relatable about their journey. And I love that you opened up to share that struggle, because many times in many leaders' lives, when they reach levels of success and wealth and prosperity, they do not want to bail that portion. So I commend you and give you a high five through the airways for doing that. So it's 2022. And let's just kick it off, or let's get right into it. So what are some of the things that individuals and families regarding finances, what should they really be focusing on right now at the top of the year?
A lot of times in January, the top of the year, people want to just kind of go. And really, I think the first real step, Sean, is to reflect and to assess. And what I mean by that is, where are you? So it's kind of like, think about it 2 different ways. Like when you go get your annual physical, your doctor doesn't immediately start prescribing things and telling you do this or don't do this. they kind of get a feel for where are you. They're getting all your vitals and your labs and all that stuff back. Once they have the picture, then they can tell you what you should or should not be doing. And so money is essentially the same thing. This is a good time to assess where you are, get on that scale. And what's your credit score? How much money do you have saved? What's in your investment or retirement accounts? What happened last year? What were your wins or your losses? Have you met your goals? Like, where are you? Because that will determine what you should focus on. And it'll also determine if you have anything urgent that you need to be dealing with, because there's urgent, there's important. Then there's that stuff, those financial things. Oh, it'll be, whenever I get to it, it's fine. But knowing where you are first can help you determine, again, the priorities and level of urgency.
I love the priority and level of urgency. That's key, guys. I take those notes. I'm loving this already. It's powerful information. So let's talk a little bit about, when we talk about financial goals and setting, would you say, I know everyone have their own rhythm, but I want to know from my expert who's on with us today, in regards to financial goal setting, do you think it should be annual goal set or quarterly goal set, or either of them work? What do you prefer? What do you suggest to the audience?
I like to think about it this way. I like to see people have one goal for now, which is this year. I like to see people have a goal for something that's soon. That's within 2 to 5 years. And then I like to see everybody have a goal for later, 5+ years. And so, I love that. And the reason why I say that is we don't want to lose sight of what's important to us soon and later. So if you want to retire in 10 years, you can't wait until the 10th year to get focused on that. So again, now, soon, later, and you can take that current goal and really double down and get focused on that in this particular year. What are the things that you can do over the course of the year? In order to guide you there. I think, Sean, that's really fundamentally the challenge I think that people have with money is they know what they want to accomplish. They're not sure what to do, so they end up not doing anything. So we do. Go ahead.
So would you say it's almost like a fear in that regard to setting projections or goals? I just need a little bit more insight on that.
Yeah, I think there's a tremendous amount of fear when it comes to money. And it's whether it's past experiences, whether it's just lack of information or ignorance, whether you have had some money trauma, maybe you've lost a job, or maybe you had a period of time where you got into debt. A lot of times when we have those unresolved things, that fear, that will keep us from setting the goals that we want or need to set. And it certainly will impact our ability to take action.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. And, this is a conversation that recently has been spreading in the wind with a lot of individuals doing as many periodicals and magazines have said, the Great Resignation, and we see the upsurging of so many entrepreneurs, which is wonderful, right, especially in the African American community.
Right.
In what way, because you are an accountant, you own your own firm, you've been in business for a long time. When it comes to that part of salary negotiations, why is it that so many people get very uncomfortable about going to the table and negotiating their salaries?
Well, again, I think it's just ignorance. I think people don't know what's involved in a negotiation, and first and foremost, anything like that requires some preparation. So it's not a knee-jerk reaction. I think it's all about, knowing about your company, knowing about the competitors, being very clear on what you've contributed. It's data-driven. It's not emotionally driven. A lot of times I think people are leading with their emotions versus really just leading with some facts. And as an employer, you come to me with facts, showing me what points you've put on the board, how you've contributed. I completely respect that very differently than someone just kind of walking down the hallway and coming in and saying, hey, I deserve, I want, based on what facts. And Sean, I'm happy that you even mentioned the Great Resignation. I'm very pro entrepreneurship. I'm happy to see people have a time to take advantage of COVID and do some reflecting and want to pivot and make some changes. But that too requires some planning and preparation. I am an entrepreneur who quit my job too early. I didn't have a plan and I suffered greatly because of it. And so for those people who are considering it or have already done it, are you going to step down, meaning go from full-time work to part-time work? Are you going to just, quit and leave? What are you doing about your benefits? What are you willing to give up in your lifestyle if you aren't able to generate as much revenue as you need? How much revenue do you need? Do you need to pay off any debt before you leave? Quitting requires a plan. Unless you're just wealthy, quitting requires a plan. And if you live with somebody else, married, have children, whatever it is, what conversations have you had with the people that you live with? Because there's very serious impact on that. When I quit my job too early without a plan, very significant impact on my marriage. We had 2 young children. We were struggling. And my husband was looking at me like, what the heck is going on? I should have had a plan. I should have been able to articulate that to say, hey, best case scenario, this is what's going to happen. But I didn't have a plan for the worst case scenario. I didn't have a plan. So that way I would have already known how to adjust and pivot.
Y'all hear that, audience? It's great that you're stepping into that next call of leadership, entrepreneurship, but make sure that you have a plan. Janai, I love that. So now that you posted something on Instagram and I saw it just a few days ago and I thought it was so powerful in the sense that I added it in one of your segment interview questions. You put out there, what is the age that we should allow a teenager to have a credit card? And my question to you, because we want to make sure that we are empowering our generations. And when I saw that, it was so on point. And so what would you say for the students coming out of high school, getting ready to go into college, for those that are exiting, what are some of the golden nuggets, as you have had many that you've shared already in this interview? What are some of the golden nuggets that could possibly help some of those individuals avoid the pitfall of overconsumption of debt, high loan rates, and all of those different dynamics that go with all of us having been in college and coming out?
Right. Well, Sean, let me tell you where that post came from. So, one thing that I love about what I do, I'm able to talk to so many people. And I started getting a little concerned as I started talking to more parents who could not retire when they wanted to, could not live how they wanted to, couldn't live where they wanted to, couldn't travel how they wanted to because of the amount that they are supporting their young adult children. And I said, this is absolutely like an epidemic here. This is crazy. And so the reason for that post was, what are the things that we can do to begin to get young adults financially independent? Off of the paycheck, off of the parents' paycheck, payroll rather, and financially independent. And see, one thing too that I realized, and Sean, probably same thing for you, I don't know how much your parents prepared you to be financially independent. I know my mom wanted to not have to pay for things for me anymore, but was she very intentionally, exposing me to things related to credit, debt, taxes, insurance, budgeting? No, it was just like, okay, you're at this age, you go, girl. There was a lot of figuring it out. And so that's where that post essentially came from, is